I would swallow my pride, I would choke on the rinds, but the lack thereof would leave me empty inside. Swallow my doubt, turn it inside out, find nothing but faith in nothing. Wanna put my tender heart in a blanket.
Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. Come on in. Welcome to the Omnipotent Chirpcast Pod Center Living Museum and Podcast Production Facility, or OCPLMPPF as we like to call it for short. This is where we produce the podcast, the Omnipotent Chirpcast. Have you ever heard of a podcast? No? Well, let me tell you about podcasts. Podcasts are amazing! Well, let me take you around. As you can see, we have a pretty state-of-the-art studio where we have microphones. That's what we use to record our voices. And out here is where we come to take a break. We have a couch and a TV to watch the big game. Go Chiefs, right guys? And we have over here the kitchen where we might fix up some snacks. Podcasting sure works up an appetite. Whoa! You can't just make a podcast by twiddling some knobs. There's more to it than that. First you need to plug in some microphones. One is already plugged in. Let's plug in another one. Now we have two microphones plugged in. Then you check the levels. Hello? Hello? Check. Check, check, check. Hello. Now that the mics are plugged in and the levels are all checked, we can start recording. Our voices go into this digital tape recorder, which then sends the voices to the computer, powered by Mojave. Music also goes into podcasts. You don't need to read that. This is where we sit when we record the podcast. Usually, Tim is over here. And Caitlin is here. She likes to kind of lounge a little like that. And this is where Peter usually sits, right here. And they share this microphone. Come on, Mike. Like that. It goes both directions like that. And this one goes wherever. Maybe Peter will have his own mic today. And this is what I hold, and this is what Caitlin has over here. Technology is amazing! And that's about how we record the podcast. I sit here, of course, at the controls. Sometimes the recording sessions can last anywhere from 2 to 5 days, and then we'll need a nap. So, you know. Good night. This is what a podcast might look like if we were recording one right now. See the levels going up? Too loud! But I can turn it down. There, that's better. You press record right here, and it's record enabled, and then you press play. Here we go. So, guys, what do you think about... But how do you feel about sports? Yeah, I feel the same way about sports. That's a funny story, Peter. Oh boy. I'm gonna have to edit this later, and you are just off on a tangent. And I went to the party and I brought Yum Yum. Oh, stop! Are you serious? I've got a problem. I'll give you a problem. Oh, will you give me a problem? Get off the equipment! Have you seen the X-Files? High five! Okay, good podcast. Next, it's time to edit the podcast. The podcast you usually hear is about 15 minutes long, maybe 20 minutes if it's extra long. That is actually edited down from days and days worth of footage of us talking. And I go back and I listen to all of it so I can find the best parts to send out to you. Now, it sounds like a grueling process, but there are some things that make it go by a little faster. Okay, let's get started. Ah! Tim got the screamies again. I don't actually use this. I do it up here. Besides editing, I've picked up some other skills. After the podcast is done, it shows up on iTunes where anybody can find it in the iTunes store. All for free. Can you believe it? We do it all for you. All this work. For you. For free.
Yeah.
And that's how you make a podcast. It's so easy a child could do it. If we allowed children in the podcast studio. But we don't. Get off the equipment! I hope you enjoyed our time together as much as I know I did. And I hope you'll subscribe to the Omnipotent Chirpcast. You just hit the subscribe button in your iTunes. What are you waiting for? Get to the point already. That's what I'm thinking on the inside sometimes.